Broadcasting live from Houston, from the space city to the world. You are watching Now Media Television.
We're going to go straight to our segment here with Roland Parker. He just ran in here into the studio. So excited that he's able to take time to be able to talk about just a crucial piece right now that's happening right now. I don't know if it's Russia attacking the Ukraine, but I know that cybersecurity is a big deal, Roland. So welcome back to the show.
Hey, Sherman, great to be back.
Now, I think there's a big fallacy in thinking that cybersecurity is only for a big business. So when it comes to small businesses, do you think that they need cybersecurity insurance?
Well, pretty much what we see these days, it's not a matter of if you're going to get attacked, it's when you're going to be attacked. And every single company out there is going to get hit at some point or another. Now, what are the costs related to that? Well, it could be the cost of recovering from your backups and your downtime. It could be the cost of having to pay the ransom because your backups also got hit by the bad guys. It could be the cost of the fact that you had personal identifiable information sitting on your computers and your customers' information was exposed. Or you could be hit with some type of wire transfer hack and they got physical money out of your account. Those are all things that are going to affect you at one point or another. And if you don't have cybersecurity insurance, you could be looking at a loss 100, 200,000. It may not be the millions that you see the big guys getting hit with, but as a small business, can you afford to throw away $100,000, $200,000? It could bankrupt you.
Now, you gave a really good example when you were on the show last week, Roland, where there was this company that actually they were then faked to send out an invoice to the client, right? And then the client paid, but that payment did not go to the actual company itself. And so would cybersecurity be able to come in from a coverage perspective? I know that you're not an insurance expert, but from what you know, would that qualify in that kind of coverage?
So the biggest thing to do is look at when you sit down with your insurance guys, say, okay, the first thing you need cybersecurity insurance. Then you've got to say, these are the things that I could get hit with. Am I going to be covered? And if you don't put that in place beforehand, then you could run the risk of losing all of that money.
Now, let's say I'm a small business, right? Just me and, just a few staff. Am I just too small to be at risk? Nobody's really going to pay attention to me, right?
The small guys are even more likely to get hit just because they don't have the money to put behind huge defense systems. So sometimes we see a lot more of the smaller guys getting hit just because they don't have the correct security in place. So it's even more essential for a small business to have cybersecurity insurance.
Now, I know how insurance works, right? That sometimes you might not qualify. So is there certain things that a business needs to put into place to make sure that they can actually get a cybersecurity insurance policy?
Well, one of the things that we're starting to see is the insurance companies are starting to ask more in-depth questions. They've been hit big time over the past couple of years, and they're now starting to ask questions to say, before you qualify for this insurance, you've got to make sure that you've got endpoint detection and remediation, that you've got endpoint protection. What type of next generation antivirus are you using? What type of backups are you using? Because at the end of the day, they want to mitigate their risks, and they're not going to put themselves at risk if you as a company can't put those things in place. And if you're not sure what any of that means, that's when you have to sit down with your IT guys, someone like Impress Computers, where we can go through and make sure, okay, you're meeting all of the questions, all of the essential items that your insurance company is looking for. Also, the last thing you want to do is check off a box and say, yes, I have this, but then you have an insurance claim and they come back and say, okay, prove it, and you didn't actually have it, because then you may not actually get paid.
So that's really interesting. It sounds like it's crucial for a lot of businesses before even reaching out to that insurance agent that might be helping them out with a cybersecurity policy. Reach out to first an IT expert to be able to make sure that they have the right pieces in place to be able to make sure that they can actually qualify.
Yep. And the best thing really to do is have a combination of both. You want to sit with your insurance and your IT guys, go through all of those questions to make sure, am I being covered from a cybersecurity point of view? Is my IT structure covered so that I can qualify and I can prove that I was doing everything possible to make sure that I prevented it in the first place?
Now, Roland, this is a risk. How much has this risk become more of a real issue versus it being a small issue? And I know you've been in the business for a number of years. What have you seen in regards to this risk? Has it gone up or is it kind of the same?
We've been in the business for the last 20 years, but the last 2 years, we've seen this astronomical increase in cybersecurity attacks. And the thing that you need to do is sit down now with your insurance guy, with your IT guys, and make sure that you're covered so that this doesn't happen to you. And if it does, you've got the correct backups and you've got the cybersecurity insurance in place.
Amazing. Now, I know that in this kind of conversation, there's got to be some crucial pieces here that are going to be far more technical than the average business owner, especially if, let's say, I'm in manufacturing or I'm in, sales of widgets. I might not even understand some of this jargon. How important is it to bring on a professional like you and having that conversation with that cybersecurity insurance agent?
It's absolutely crucial. One, you don't want to answer things that you've got no understanding about. But two, you want to make sure that your network is as secure as possible anyway. So having that combination of your insurance guy, your IT guy sitting down and making sure, one, you're getting the best advice. You're covered for every type of incident. And three, that you've got the security in place to try and prevent it or recover from it should that happen. And that's a crucial thing. It's not just, okay, if it happens, I'm going to recover from my backup. How long is it going to take you? How much downtime do you have? You really want to sit down and have a scenario where you look at how quickly can I recover? What procedures are in place? And do I have that disaster recovery manual in place before it happens?
Super important here. So if a business is listening to this and they're like, you know what, really need to have a conversation, or I have some just follow-up questions to see if maybe what we have is even up to par, how can they get a hold of you and your team, Roland?
The best thing to do is get a hold of us on 281-647-9977 or reach us on the web, impresscomputers.tech. That's IMPRESS, computers.tech.
All right, wonderful. Really appreciate you taking the time to be able to come on the show and just share those thoughts with us.